Hi, this is Lori, and this is my homework for Paul McWhorter's Pico W course. This homework covers lessons 6 through 8, where we're working with 3 LEDs and a potentiometer using if statements and compound conditionals. Our homework assignment was to add 3 LEDs to our project along with our potentiometer. We're going to have a green, a yellow, and a red LED. And we're going to take our potentiometer reading and turn it to a 0 to 100 reading. Here's the graph and sort of the math to do that. So on the low end of our potentiometer, we want to read 0. And on the high end of our potentiometer, we want to read a 100. And we'll light the LEDs based on that value, 0 to 100. The green will be on when it's between 0 and 79. It'll be yellow when it's 80 to 94, and the red one will be on when it's 95 or greater. So first we'll just take a look at the way I have the circuit set up. I've got my Pico. Here's the potentiometer that we had from the last lesson hooked up the same way into the analog to digital converter on 28. And then here inside this little black cone are my 3 LEDs. I actually chose to use some LEDs that I bought separately on Amazon. They're a little bit better quality and they have a little nicer colors. The other thing I found is that with the green especially, its forward voltage is a little bit higher than the other color. So I'm using a little less resistance so that I get a nice bright green when we light that one up. Here's my code for the homework. Import the needed modules, set up the potentiometer, and here I'm setting up the 3 LEDs on the appropriate GPIO pins. Still using my scale function from the last lesson, as well as the way to read the potentiometer and get an average value so I can take away a little bit of that potentiometer noise. And then here in my while true loop, I am using a try and except, and with the except I'm turning off all the LEDs so that they are off when I do a Control C. And in the while true part of the program, we'll go ahead and read the potentiometer using my average function. Then we'll scale it. And this is a little bit different. I found with all the averaging, I was rarely seeing 100 even when I had it turned all the way up to the high end of the potentiometer. So I just went ahead and made it 101 so that I would definitely get 100s with all the averaging. And then I kind of take care of that just in case I get more than 100 by using some of those if statements we learned in these lessons from Paul. So if I get a number higher than 100, I'm going to go ahead and make it 100, and I check the other end too. Then I'm using just printing to the screen so we can see the reading, and I'm using a format that I learned from one of our fellow students, Keith. He showed us how to do this so that when it prints, it doesn't keep appending, it just keeps replacing so that we only see one number at a time, which is kind of nice, not having to fill up all the shell with lots and lots of printing. And then here's the code that I'm using to go ahead and light up the LED. And I'm using an if, elif, and else, and also the compound conditionals here to catch the yellow. So if it's less than 80, it's going to be green. If it's 80 and less than 95, then it's going to have the yellow one on. Otherwise, it's going to have the red one on. And then we'll just sleep for half a second. Probably could speed that up a little bit, but I wanted to make sure I had some time to do this averaging up here. So that's why I picked maybe a little bit longer sleep than I need. All right, let's see it go. And there we go. So we're seeing our number here in the shell. And let's see if I can get it to work. So we're all the way on the low end of my potentiometer, and the green is on. Nice bright green. I like that. That's what this little black cone is to try to help be able to see the color. So I'm going to start turning it up a little bit, and we should see the number in the shell going up. And all right, I'm going to kind of move along here. Try to get up closer. Here we go. Okay. Getting close to the number where we're going to switch to yellow. Yep, I just hit it. Oh, and you can see sometimes you'll flash because of the noise. Not too much of that, but yeah, real close. So there we are at 80. Switch to the yellow, and let's get up to 95, and it should switch to the red. There we go, and all the way over. We're all the way over now, and we're at 100. Yeah, so I think that works pretty good. I know some of the other students did some really nice homeworks showing, yeah, if you're really operating a piece of equipment, you probably want to have some kind of a buffer region so that you don't get that switching back and forth between the kind of boundary numbers there. And I got away from a little bit of it by using the averaging, but definitely I think you could put that in there as well. Paul asked us in lesson 7 what was the fatal flaw in his version of the homework assignment for lesson 6, and it was that he hadn't carefully bracketed the conditionals so that he was briefly turning on the yellow light even when it was always at the red setting. And you really needed to use these conditionals to get it right. So that was the answer to lesson 7's homework. Well, that's how the program works in my code for this homework. And we'll go ahead and Control C to turn everything off. And I want to thank Paul for the great lessons. Thanks for joining me.